welcome to the show. This is Ted Talks Too Much, and we've got another great one for you today. I am Ted Moss, ex-long-haired hippie, stand-up comedian, and your host. We are located in the OK Boomer Studios just outside of Flint, Michigan. That's right, Flint, Michigan's water wonderland, where they are still wondering when they'll get some clean water. But while we all wait for that to happen, let's talk. And on today's show, we got the return of Sal Demilio, a double-decade professional comedian who's here to talk about the business side of the entertainment industry. We're going to talk about his podcast, Sal and Bob Show, a golf website I'm working on, and the coronavirus. Yeah, we got no solutions, but maybe some entertaining thoughts, so stay tuned. All right, we are done. Season 1 in the can. 12 episodes of funny people laughing a lot. If you only listened to one episode, it was the wrong one. Go back. Here's what you missed.
That I ever did was like 20 minutes away. Oh, I'm only going 20 minutes away.
Dumping like cruise ships do, just dumping shit everywhere?
Yes!
Stop it. That's no.
I was like, I like chocolate. So I thought of it, but then I thought there's no way I can.
Something in your donut. There's something in your donut that makes people serial killers.
Oh,
That's not a good sign. He just jumped off the fucking boat. Damn it.
At some things he is.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Oh, God. I'm going to be so smooth tonight.
You? Me?
What's the etiquette? I mean, you jump with
off.
him? What the fuck?
I bet he's never considered stealing chocolate milk. Hey.
Hey, biscuit?
I couldn't help but notice. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the fourth bottle I brought her. She ended up getting like
Every day she's at the store returning all this Tito's.
I want you to try that.
If you guys see me doing a double axle off the back of the boat, please follow suit.
Well, I hope not. Or I got it. I got it in my ears. I don't know.
Yeah, Mr. Creepy. Sure. Yeah, right.
Ted Moss the Third. You know what I call my podcast?
All right, make sure you get back and listen to all those laughs with us in season 1 before we move on down the line. I will have all my funny friends coming up in season 2, so subscribe. And now for our last episode of season 1. Okay, here we go just one last time. He's back in studio. We're going to talk about his podcast, The Sal and Bob Show, where they review steakhouses. I'm going to run some of my ideas past him. Isn't it great when friends will help you out with new projects? Also, he's pretty damn funny, so I hope you enjoy it. But right now, let's give an OK Boomer Studio welcome once again to Sal Demilio. Hey, I wanted to talk to you. A little bit about your podcast because I think that's interesting. You've been doing a podcast for a long time, and you just had a milestone, I think. Can you talk a little bit about what you do in the way of a podcast, what it's called, and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, man. I'm part of a really cool podcast called The Sal and Bob Show with another comedian friend of mine, Bob Phillips, funny guy. And we visit or talk about steakhouses, and then we do our little comedy interviews, and we talk about political stuff, or we talk about sports and things happening in the news. And look, there's 700,000 podcasts. We're another one, but we try to do some different things. We showcase some steakhouses. We've got some good interviews on there. Our backlog, we've got about 60 episodes in backlog, and we're ranked 53rd in the country for interview podcasts.
Wow.
That's just interview ones, so that's not all other podcasts, but just interview ones. And it's a lot of fun, man. We've had Josh Mankiewicz on. We've had Anthony Carter on. We had Tyrone Wheatley on in the sports world. We have normal people on, like a regular. We have comedians on, obviously, and then we'll have, like, I had my buddy, that's a police officer, David Klimovin. He came on the show and talked about things on being a cop and some of the cop things that we're all used to, hearing about, or the myths about police officers, and that was a really fun episode. Anyway, fun podcast. You can get on any form of, Stitcher and iTunes and all that stuff. So it's called the Sal and Bob Show, man. We're having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, and it's primarily based around reviewing steakhouses, right?
Yeah, because one of the things, my idea when I was contemplating doing a podcast, I've always my passion. I was in the corporate world for I worked a corporate job while I was doing comedy for a long time back in the day, and I had 2 jobs. But the corporate job that I had, I would always go out to a steakhouse with my clients. They always wanted to go to get a steak. So I spent a lot of corporate meetings having a steak around a steakhouse booth, and I thought to myself, well, that was talking about business. But what if I had my comedian friends around a steakhouse booth, or a guest, or somebody that I want to interview, and then enjoy a steak with that person? That's kind of the concept of the show, is to sit around a booth and talk shop with somebody and enjoy a steak, So that's kind of what the concept is.
Do you do that at the steakhouse, Sal?
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It's very difficult production-wise to accomplish that.
Right.
So we don't do that all the time. So if we don't go to the actual steakhouse, then we do it in studio. Our studio is Bob's home, and then we, showcase the steakhouse. So we'll talk about that steakhouse. We'll go to their website, tell our audience members maybe what that steakhouse is all about or what they're known for. And so it's a showcase. And then our other episodes where we can actually go there and set up in their bar or whatever and do a live at the time kind of broadcast. That's how we do it. It's a very difficult concept to produce,
right? Because
going to the steakhouse takes a lot. But right now we're doing a little bit of both, and it seems to be working out. So we did the Hyde Park Steakhouse in Northville, Michigan. We did that one, and we did a live show in their bar area. And matter of fact, not right now, but I go up there and have a glass of wine once in a while. And the manager says that's their biggest bar night they've ever had to this day. They still haven't beat that bar night that they had.
That's cool. That's very cool. Do you have a website where you leave a review of the steakhouse? So I can say it's a Bob and Sal 4-star steakhouse or something like that?
Yeah, it's a great idea. We don't have a website yet, but we do have, we got a Facebook page where we interact with people. We have Twitter. So you can find the Sal and Bob Show on many outlets. And then myself and Bob have our own stand-up careers and Twitter pages and all that.
Sure.
Sally D08 for me, Sally D08, and then at Bob the Dude for Bob Phillips.
Yeah, I think that's a great concept. And I'll tell you, Sal, recently I went down to Orlando to Podfest to learn about podcasting and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And on the way down there, I was listening to somebody about how to monetize via the internet. And they said the best way to do that is to have a website and sell information that people want or need, like these online classes. And I got thinking about it, and years ago, this is going to sound like it's off subject, but it really isn't. Years ago, I had a daughter that was trying to get a college scholarship for golf. And so I spent 8 years coaching her in golf and learning from other parents of golfers how to get a college scholarship. And so when she finally got a college scholarship, I had done all these Excel spreadsheets of all the coaches and all the numbers and when to talk to them and how to get recruited and how I contacted them. And I had all these records of different tournaments she was in to get nationally ranked and all this information. So I put a booklet together and kind of didn't know what to do with the booklet. And I thought, you know what? People that have kids that are golfers would really like to have this information of what do I do with my kid in 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade if they want to get a college scholarship? So you're talking about saving the family $120,000 for a college education if they get a scholarship. And I thought, this is valuable, and how do I get it out there? And I thought, well, I could have something on the internet, a website where I actually offer this little class on how to save $120,000, and that has some value to it. And then I got thinking about your podcast where you're reviewing steakhouses, and Joel's podcast where he reviews movies. And I thought, you know what? I should do a golf course review website and podcast. So what I actually pulled my car off the side of the highway, got on domain.com and registered playingtheback9.com.
Perfect. Love it. Love the name.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I figure I wanted to do a website for the average golfers. So the subtitle is Still Shooting Over 40, meaning I'm over 40 years old and I'm still shooting over 40.
Yeah, I like that.
But I might have a kid that has the ability to go to college, and I don't know how to get him in the right tournaments or how to get him ranked or how to get him noticed by colleges. So it would be a great setup for that. And I have a bunch of buddies that love to golf and love to talk golf.
Yep.
And I thought, you know what I'll do is contact these courses and say, look, I'm going to put a review up on my website, and I'm going to do it in birdies. You're a gold birdie or a silver birdie or a bronze birdie. And we're going to actually give them a sticker to put on their door that they've been reviewed by us, and put their website and links to their website on our site. So you can go there and you can see what we ranked that golf course. You can hear a short podcast that's maybe 10, 12 minutes about what it's like to play the course and what we thought about the course, the maintenance, the clubhouse, and the staff.
Yep.
Just briefly, not long, so you can listen to that, and you can see our little comments about all the courses, and maybe have a couple dozen local courses, and you can go through that. And also, then I can avail my training in how to get a college scholarship on that same website. So I'm going to start up a new podcast, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite people who are well-spoken and like to golf and would be willing to go out and play 9 holes with me, and then sit in the clubhouse and do just a 12, 15-minute podcast and have them fill out a form, which is a review of that course, and post that all on the website. So you can go to the website, you can see an Excel document about how the different golfers rank the course and the facility and the people and the experience, and a couple comments. And that way we can find some maybe hidden gems. I know there's courses out there that are really cool, like the one I live on, the Coyote Preserve. Not everybody knows that there's an up north styled wilderness golf course, right in the middle of Michigan, and it'd be nice to have those courses. And now I wanted to ask you this.
It's a great idea, man.
If you review a steakhouse, do they comp you the dinner?
No, but just like anything else, even with your idea there, you're going to get more respect from golf courses once you get your listenership up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with us. We're starting to get respect from steakhouses. Don't get me wrong, but it takes, they can, they're capable of seeing how many listeners we have, and you can see the followers and all that. So It's easy for a steakhouse to go, okay, these guys are the real deal. Maybe we'll put a few bucks into this, or like when we review you, when we were doing it, and we're doing it at our live steakhouse. When we do a live show, we send you a plaque, and it's a really nice plaque that says, it's got our logo, and it says you were on the Sal and Bob show, and it's a really, really nice, it's a really nice, well done. So if they put that up, because most steakhouses, let's face it, are very, very nice and upscale, and oak wood and stuff like that. So if you're going to ask them to put something up, it's got to be really, really nice. So we did it, and a couple of them have put it up. I don't know how long they last, whatever, but they're at the front where you check in, and it says, Ruth Chris location or whatever was part of the Sal and Bob show.
Yeah,
and so it's a good marketing angle.
Yeah.
Again, you got to get the trust from the steakhouse. You got to get the trust from the golf course for you. So but good concept, man.
Yeah, the way I'm thinking about it is I'm going to review your course whether you want me to or not. I'm going to post online what I think about your course, and we're going to give you so many birdie star rating. So and I'm going to let you know when we're coming in to do it. And if you want to treat us extra special nice, that's great. If you want to ignore us, that's fine too. But I'm not going to blindside you and come in and say, you didn't know I was rating you this day. I'm going to say, look, at next Tuesday, we're going to come in. We're going to golf 9 holes. And matter of fact, I'll golf the front or the back. Whatever you want me to golf that shows off your course better, I'm glad to do that. And I'm not willing to accept any compensation. If you want to comp us the golf, if you want to pay for the golf, so not charge us for the golf, I think that's great. But we can't take any compensation because we want to stay neutral. And you're going to be up there. Your website's already linked to our website. And we're going to put what we think of our experience as far as the course layout, the maintenance, the staff, and the facilities. And I think giving people a heads up is a good thing.
No, it's a great idea. No, I think it's great. Now, what we've done too, and you might want to consider this too, because of you have the same concept as us. You're going to the golf course. We're going to the steakhouse.
Right.
Sometimes you can't get there, so you might want to have one. Like this is just an example. I'm sorry, I cannot remember the name of the steakhouse. I apologize, but we were doing in-house, and I said. Let's. We were doing a show about. We were doing our subject of the day on the podcast was the Kentucky Derby because it was Kentucky Derby week. So we kind of wanted the theme to be horses. So I just Googled steakhouse restaurants with horse in the name or whatever, and there was a freaking. Oh yeah, now I remember. There was a. I think it's crazy. There was a steakhouse called Crazy Horse Steakhouse or whatever.
Oh.
So I said, let's feature these guys.
Yeah.
We never went there. Like we've never been there before. We just said, hey, we're going to put them on our podcast. So we went to their website and we just said, hey, this Crazy Horse. We're just tying in horse with, and I forgot our song of the episode was a horse song as well. So the whole theme was horse. Anyway, I sent after the show was over with. And Nate was going to air it on Monday. I just went to the website to contact us or whatever. And I sent the manager or the owner of the Crazy Horse Steakhouse a message on their email.
Yeah.
And I just said, hey, you were featured on the Sal and Bob show. I know we never came in there. We never talked to you about it. But, have a listen. You're going to like it. And they follow us on Facebook now.
Oh, cool.
They comment on everything. They reviewed our show. They sent me a message and said, anytime you guys want to come out for dinner, it's on us.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they appreciated the plug, and we never even went there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go. I think it's up in Holland, near Holland, Michigan.
Yeah.
And
That's a beautiful area.
So my thought to you is, if you can't get to the golf course, maybe once in a while maybe it's in the wintertime or something. If your podcast continues, maybe you just review course and you're not even there. I'm just saying once in a while. Yeah. So if you do that, you might be,
it's possible.
You can do what we did, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's possible if we've golfed the course. I don't want to give a review for a course that I have not played. I mean, in retrospect, I can talk about courses that I've played a number of times. But I also,
there you go. Maybe you do that.
I also want to review them from the average golfer perspective. From a bogey golfer. Because, some courses are excellent, but they'll just kill you if you're a great golfer. So I want to, you and me, we've golfed together and we're typical bogey golfers pretty much. And there's courses that are just wonderful for us that might not be the best for great players or the best for lousy players. But most golfers that are avid golfers are in that someplace between 8 and 20 handicap range. I mean, that's how we golf. We're going to go out there and we're going to shoot. If we shoot well, we'll shoot maybe a 38, 39, but on a typical day, maybe a 43, 44, and maybe on a bad day, we'll shoot a 48, 50. Who knows? But that's typical golfers, and that's where the bulk of the golfers are. And those guys, I think, kind of get set on golfing one course. And then when they say, well, let's go golf another course, they'll go golf a course that they've golfed before. But I played some public courses recently that are just outstanding that I didn't even know existed. Some of them are, civic courses, and some of them are privately owned courses. But there's a lot of really good courses out there if people only knew where they were at. But the point is, I don't want to blindside people. I only want to golf courses that are probably going to be rated pretty high. I'm not out to make people look bad, but in the process,
no, you don't want to go to some dog track. And
yeah, I'm not going to do that. And actually, I have some public courses that I've played that I will not review because I really hate the course and I don't want to put that online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't want to do that. Hey, the other interesting thing.
No, we don't do that either.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about golf, and when I was growing up, my dad said, if you really want to know the character of somebody, wallpaper with them. Because when you wallpaper with somebody, nothing goes right. Everything's wrong. Everything's stretched. Nothing's fitting. Nothing matches. You get around. There's just problem after problem. And I kind of feel the same way about golf. If you want to really get to know somebody, either get them drunk and that personality will come out, or go golfing with them. Because people that have this little angry side or this entitlement feeling, it all comes out in golf. And I don't want to mention any names specifically, but you're great to golf with, and I enjoy golfing with you. But we had a golf experience where I golfed with somebody I didn't know, and you happened to be in the group, and and the guy was just wanted to be upset no matter what happened and no matter what you said to him, and was looking to lash out. It was like, this is just a horrible experience. There's just some people that you can't golf with, I think.
No, I totally, I remember that day. I know the day. And here's the deal on that, or here's the deal in general, not just on that. Golf also is a very serious sport for people, and it's a very tough sport for the middle of the road golfer that you're talking about, which we all are. And I think that day we all were as well. But just, and I get that way too. I want to do good at that game, I remember golfing with my buddies, and they would be like, already cracking beers on the first tee. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait. As soon as my game blows up, then I'll start drinking,
Yeah.
So I would be like concentrating on the first hole. Let's say I par it. Okay, I'm not going to drink yet. Second hole. As soon as I get a 6 or 7, then I'll join you. Which is probably around the third hole.
Yeah.
But for some reason, but here's the deal. I think we've all been there. Because again, I'm an average golfer. I average about 95. 94. But I remember one time I had like 4 pars in a row. And I was like, holy shit, I got 4 pars in a row going. I don't think I've ever. So now that next hole, I'm teeing off like I am at Augusta.
Yeah. Sure, you're serious. So let's see what can happen today.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, can I get 5 in a row here?
Yeah.
Well, now, and whatever happens on that hole, but I remember getting pissed off sometimes where you just, and I think that's what happened that day is the point I'm trying to make, is he was trying to really, really golf really, really well. And just everything around him is going to be a nuisance to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't having a good day, And we've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah.
I mean, there was days I couldn't even get off the tee some days. Like I remember my buddy Sean invited me to a golf outing just a couple of years ago, and I hadn't golfed in like a couple months. But I'm a decent golfer. I mean, you golfed with me, I can golf. But for some reason that day, I could not get off the tee. I could not get off the tee. Like I could not hit my driver, and it was embarrassing. Now, granted, it was a scramble, so we didn't need my drive ever.
Right.
And my score didn't count. I wasn't golfing on my own score, thank God. I don't even know what the hell I would have done that day. But I was so mad. I was so disgusted in myself that I couldn't. I was embarrassing. I was embarrassed. I didn't even enjoy my. They gave us like a steak dinner after. I didn't even enjoy it because I was so bummed out about the way I played.
Yeah.
And I ate half of it and went home. I was depressed. I'm like, I just embarrassed myself. I'm like, what the hell happened? So the next day I go to the range and I'm just pounding 250-yard drive straight down the middle going, where the hell was this at yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the nature of golf, though. And if you're going to golf at the upper levels, you eventually learn that. My daughter, who was actually about a 3 handicap, and was nationally ranked number 1 in the nation in putting and across the NC2A. But in any case, she went out to we flew out to, it was Las Vegas. She was unsigned senior, and we had at least a half a dozen to a dozen college coaches from University of Colorado, all over the country. They had a big convention in Vegas. And so they had a golf tournament, the AJGA, which is the top tour in the world for junior golfers, had a tournament out there so the college coaches could come out and see the players. And we wrote letters to all these different coaches that we were talking to at the time to come out and see her. Well, you know, she's a pretty good golfer on a tough track. From the whites, she's going to break 80. I don't know if she's going to be, 74, she's going to be 78, but that's where she's going to be. That's kind of her range of play. And she went out the first day and shot a 104. It was a 2-day tournament.
Wow.
And then they posted the scores. And of course, it was the second day that all the coaches were coming out and they all saw that score. Nobody came to watch her. Nobody came to watch her the second day. She shot a 74.
Wow.
And there was one coach that stopped by that had given her a scholarship offer and saw that she went from like 104 to 74 and said, that's the kid for me. That's the kid with a lot of potential, who keeps her head in it, who understands in this game, like comedy, you have bad days. There's some days when everything bounces wrong, you aren't making solid contact, you're hitting them off the hosel, your timing's wrong. The more anxious you get, the worse it gets, and it's just a spiral that goes downhill and gets worse as you go. But in golf, you got to finish the round. She also had a coach out of Texas, really, but I think he lived in Florida most of the time, who was actually a great golfer, had actually played around with Ben Hogan, had been on the PGA Tour, and he was coaching Samantha, and we were talking about the psychology of golf one day, and he was trying to get her to be in the moment and to learn how to draw and fade, visualizing different colors, and you're pretty advanced psychologically. And I asked him about people that get upset while they're golfing, because it's really hard to focus when a person around you is getting upset about things, because then you're worried about your behavior, so it throws the whole foursome out. And he said those people are victims of entitlement. They feel like they deserve something better than what they got on that particular shot or that particular hole or that particular round, but it's not true.
Yep.
Golf gives you exactly what you deserve. Each and every shot, you get exactly what you deserve. Now, there are some bad bounces, but those even out. Once in a while, you're going to hit a sprinkler head, and it's going to advance your ball another 40 yards. Another time, you're going to hit some rock, and it's going to push you off into the rough. But those will even out.
Yep.
For every bad bounce, there's going to be a good bounce. For every bad break, there's going to be a lucky break. A lot of times you're enhancing the bad breaks because you're taking risks that you shouldn't take. If you're a golfer and you can't make that shot 70% of the time, it's probably not a shot you should be trying unless you're willing to accept the fact, that you aren't going to make it and that it's okay for you to be further out of bounds or in the water or whatever. So people that get really upset with a shot really just have not grown their game to the point where they're mature enough to understand that that's the way golf is. It's just like,
There's no doubt about it. I mean, we all know that after the fact, we just are in the moment, and it just, the game can get to you sometimes. I mean, sometimes I'll be getting my clubs out of my trunk, and I'll be putting on my cleats, and I'll be like, I don't care what I shoot today. I'm not feeling well. I'm just out here to hit it around a little bit. That kind of a day, I don't care what I'm shooting. But then there's the days where you're, gambling with your buddies and things are on the line and every putt matters, and it can get to you. It can get to your feeling.
Well, I learned my game, actually. I belonged to a private club for a while, and it wasn't a high-end private club, but it was a private club nonetheless, and there was a bet on every game. Every round there was a bet, which really meant you all had to play by the same rules. There was no kicking it, mulligans, do-overs, bumping it up. If you're playing them down, you're playing them down. If you're bumping them up in the fairway, you're bumping them in the fairway. If you're leaving them down in the rough, you leave them down. So that's the way I learned the game, because there's money on it. You can't have one player playing by different rules. But I have a hard time when I play in league. And in league, they're going to post a score and who's in first place in league. And one guy is totally playing different rules than the next guy, and that's always difficult for me because I'm playing by the rules of golf unless you tell me something different.
Yeah.
And if you're playing out of bounds as a lateral hazard, I'll play a legit lateral hazard. I'm not throwing it 30 yards away from where it went on. I'm putting it within 2 club lengths. That's unless you tell me we're doing something different, I'm freaking playing golf because that's how I learned it. Doesn't mean it's right. But there are those rounds when I go out with my buddy and say, we've never played this course. Let's not even keep score. Who cares? We're just bumping the ball and hitting the ball and doing whatever. We're just playing the course for fun and not even writing down the number. So those are the only 2 ways I know how to play. Either we're playing for score or we're not keeping score. And if we're playing for score, I play by the rules. But that is not always the case. I have people that are keeping score and not playing by the rules, and then I freaking don't know what to do. I'm confused.
I don't like that either.
Well, you know, my daughter in the first round one summer on the second hole staked her iron shot within 1 foot of the pin from 150 yards out, took a picture of it, sent it to my ex-wife, or I sent it to my ex-wife actually, and she commented back, and my daughter said, "What'd she say?" And I said, "She said that's a gimme." And my daughter had been golfing for about 3 years, and she said, "What's a gimme?" Because I had never given her a putt. I had never given her a 2-inch putt. I had made her putt everyone in because she wanted to play at the highest levels. And so that's the way, 3 years into golf, she had never been given a putt. She had no idea. Well, if you're going to play in college, you're going to play them down. You're going to play by the real rules. And there was no sense in telling her all the cheats. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But anyhow, enough about golf. Hey, I did want to ask you a little bit about the coronavirus. You've been hunkered down at home alone, and you live alone, right?
Yeah.
And so, with absolutely nothing.
Nobody for me to hate after a while. Yeah, except myself.
With nothing to do every day except stay at home, right? So you're like a retired guy. Yeah, I kind of get the feeling that everybody right now kind of knows what it feels like to be retired, where the days kind of blend together. You're not even sure what day of the week it is. Have you gotten to that point?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I can see, I've been trying to keep myself busy. I go out and walk or whatever. And, like I said before, today I was going to visit my dad to check up on him, a little bit of grocery shopping. And, I try to keep busy. I try to not be too bored or try to sit. I can't be inside for I know some people are literally inside their place for 5-6 straight days. They don't even go outside for nothing.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
I got to at least go out, walk around, or go walk down the road, or, whatever, even sit on my balcony for crying out loud. I don't care. I can't just lock up in my house or my place. I can't do it. I don't know how people do it. There's something my brother's doing. My brother and his wife, they're locked down. They're not going. They got 3 weeks worth of grocery and they're not leaving the house. I can't do that. I just can't. I gotta.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not a good situation for me.
Yeah.
But we're all going to get through this. I mean, it's bringing everybody. I think we're all kind of doing some self-reflection. It's all you can do. Is self-reflect maybe, and maybe this is going to be for good. Maybe after this is all over, we're all going to be nicer to each other.
Yeah, doubt that. Hey, did you hear that the governor of the state of Michigan The governor of this. Are you ready?
Yep. Oh my God.
Got something, dude. I don't know. You're sick. Don't give it to me. Hey, did you hear?
Can you get the virus through the phone?
I don't know. I hope not. Or I got it. I got it in my ears. I don't know. Did you notice that the governor of the state of Michigan has now decided that stores need to cordon off certain areas of the stores so you can't shop for those products? Did you hear this?
I mean, I know. Yeah.
Did you hear what it was? Did you hear what it was?
What was it?
It was furniture, flooring, and paint.
Yeah, furniture, flooring and paint. I thought it was garden stuff too, like seeds and stuff.
I don't know. I don't know. But I tell you what, I have never been out shopping at Home Depot for my plumbing supplies and think, God, I don't want to get over there in the flooring department. That place is packed. Or the paint department. There's normally 3 people in the paint department. I mean, how is that more dangerous? The people.
I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on. There's
how many people are shopping for furniture in the grocery store, and you're going, damn, you know what? We're going to get sick because of those furniture shoppers.
I know. I don't get the furniture one. I can understand the paint because you got to have somebody get the paint ready for you at Home Depot, I guess, maybe. I don't know. And there's no social distancing there. I don't know.
Up close and personal with your paint people.
Here's what I don't understand. We're so worried about somebody going to get paint, yet you can still go to Costco and be there with 200 people, So I don't get it. That's why I can't wait till April 30th. Hopefully this is all over with and maybe we can at least go back out.
Yeah.
And, do our normal things. I know, I don't know when big crowds are going to be around. I mean, I don't know when, baseball is going to be back and all that, maybe towards the end of June. So,
yeah, but even if everybody in the United States stays so they don't catch it, stays hunkered down, they don't catch it, nobody in the country has it. One person on one plane flying in gives it to the people on the plane just by breathing the same air. They get out and distribute it. Now it goes, here we go again. There's no solution. That's not a solution. Staying away from it is not the solution. The only solution is to get a vaccine and for everybody in the frickin' country to get the vaccine. Because if any one person has it, it can come back again. There's nothing. It just takes one. Why would it not spread itself again? I mean, all those people are staying away from it. So we're all virgins of the coronavirus, but we come out in the real world with a group of people and breathe the same air. And now we can get it. I mean, I don't know how it doesn't just start back up.
Yeah, I don't get that. Well, I think it's just going to be a continuation of it's just going to be another. We have all these other viruses, the flu and the regular flu, and it's just going to be another one of those. It's going to be an addition to the ones we have, And every year we're going to go, okay, 10,000 deaths in flu, 10,000.
Yeah, everybody has to get a shot. Either that, or you got to survive it, or you got to die from it, or you gotta not get it.
You got to be immune to it.
Yeah, and the only way you're immune to it is they come up with some kind of vaccination. It's the only way they get rid of this. And they aren't coming up with a vaccination within months. You won't see that until September, October, late in the year. Which means if we get back together in groups, this is going to spread again.
Man, it's just.
I would like to have some kind of. I've been clean and quarantined for 2 weeks party. Everybody that can stay hunkered down and not go out to see anybody and has no symptoms of being sick for 14 days is coming over to my house. We're all going to have a party together.
Yeah, I don't understand why that can't. Well, they're thinking about doing that with baseball, having them all in Arizona, the whole league, and they would be quarantined from their family. Shit, self-quarantine. They'd be quarantined with their team, and they won't be able to see their families for like 6 weeks or something like that, and they'll play the whole season out in Arizona. They're like contemplating it, but that doesn't sound like a good idea at all.
The problem is you'd have to trust people to be in quarantine because one person goes out to one store and picks up some wine on the way to your party, and all of a sudden they infect everybody at your party. So,
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I think it's. I think once we get the numbers down and they open up the society again, we'll see what happens. I think your theory sounds like it should happen, but if it doesn't, then.
Yeah,
I guess
I don't know.
Right.
It's
but
playing
I
havoc.
don't understand how it doesn't spread again either. That's a great question.
You know what? I actually asked our senator. He had an online thing where you could ask him questions. And when you got done, you could leave your question and they'd respond to you. He'd get back with you. And my question is, how do we either not get a vaccine, survive it, or die from it? I mean, how else does this end? And he has not gotten back with me. I think that's the answer. You either have to survive it, not survive it, or have a way of not getting it, which is a vaccine.
Never get it.
Yeah. There's no other option. And if any one person has it, any one person anywhere has it, and gets on a bus, gets on a train, gets on a plane, gets in a room with people, goes to a comedy club, goes to a bar, you can spread it to enough people to start it back up again. Just one person.
I know.
Isn't that crazy? This imaginary, nobody's had it and we're on the downhill slope because only so many people have it. As soon as you go to a U of M basketball game and there's one person in that crowd of, 10,000 people, you got
it just starts off.
250 people infected. And where are they going? They're going.
That's a great question. I actually said that 2 weeks ago. I heard Dr. Fauci, whatever. He said one of the first interviews he gave. He said that if you get it and survive it, and then it's out of your system, you're immune to it.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying that, and I said, well, shit. Then I want to get it now. I don't want to get it for my first time when I'm 78 and I've got some maybe I've got some health conditions then or so. You know what I mean? I'd rather get it now.
I know.
Let's beat it.
Well, how about me? I'm old, overweight, and I have a poor immune system. So if I get it, my chances are not good.
I totally agree. I could die from it now too. I'm out of shape. I got problems. Don't get me wrong, but I'm healthier now than I'm going to be 20 years from now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'd rather get it now, fight it, beat it, and then never get it again.
Right.
So when I'm 78, I can't get it.
Totally agree. I'm looking out the window right now, and there's a guy walking by with his wife, and he's wearing a mask, and she isn't, and they're outdoors, and there's a breeze out there. Who the hell is he protecting? I don't get it. If I'm outdoors, I'm not worried about it, dude. I mean, Jesus Christ. How big is the sky? I mean, I would worry about it if I'm in a car with somebody, maybe, but I don't know. Yeah. There's, this is going to go on longer than people think. It has to, because it's going to come back.
Might be right.
Unless there's a vaccine. And if you listen to how they have to do testing to get vaccines, because there could be some really, really, really bad magnifying the bad parts of the disease effects of vaccines. That's why they have to do live testing. They have to test them on animals and stuff, because it may exacerbate, all the bad things. It might make it twice as hard to breathe or whatever, because with a vaccine, they're actually giving you the virus. That's what it is.
Correct.
But that's how we got rid of polio.
Correct.
Everybody got the polio vaccine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Everybody got it. And that's the only way you get rid of this thing. I also heard a story, and I don't know if this is right, but I heard a story that this started with some guy eating a raw bat. Do you think that's right?
No, it's those markets in China. I saw another thing about that. It's like, all these viruses, H1N1 or whatever that was called, the Ebola, the swine flu. It all comes from that. Those outdoor markets in Wuhan and in China and stuff, where these animals are being hung up. Bats are being hung up for days and stuff. And then a guy, like you just said, decides to order a bat sandwich at 2:00 in the morning, and he's infecting the world. So here's my question, and this is a lot of people are saying, why aren't those being tore down? They should be. The whole world should be ganging up on China, going, shut those things down.
Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you?
The world.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't understand why that's not happening.
I can't. It's
wrap
just
my
like
head around that
it's
one.
like AIDS. Who the hell?
Why didn't it happen? Why didn't it happen 80 years ago? Is what I'm saying. The first time a virus came out of that freaking market, that thing should have been torn out.
Right.
I don't understand it.
Right.
Can you imagine if you had a? Let's say you had a donut shop, okay? You had a donut shop out there in Fenton, okay? And it's Ted's Donut Shop. And every 5 years, 5 people start killing people because they ate Ted's donuts.
Right.
They become serial killers.
They'd shut me
It's
down.
like there's something in your donut. There's something in your donut that makes people serial killers.
Yes.
Would you be open?
No.
Would you be open?
No.
I don't get it. I don't
Well,
get it.
yeah, I don't. Well, you know what? I had the Hong Kong flu years ago, back when I was in high school. Back in the 60s, there was something called the Hong Kong flu, and it came out of China, and it was terrible. It was a terrible flu. I had a fever of 103 to 104 for at least 5-6 days straight. I mean, you don't sleep, you hallucinate. I got down to, I think it was 112 pounds at 6 foot tall.
Wow.
Parents never took me to the doctor. And back in those days, when you had a fever, they thought the way to get rid of it was to sweat it out of you. So I've got a fever of 104, 105, or whatever it is, and I'm hallucinating. I just every minute is a nightmare, and they're just throwing blankets on top of me, just making me hotter and hotter and hot. It was, yeah. And actually, by the time my fever broke, I really was praying that I would die. I was like, really, I'm done. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
No sleep for 5 days. And they were depriving me of water too. They because if I had some water, I would throw it up. So they weren't letting me drink anything. No water, covering me up with blankets, running a fever 104, 105. I was literally dying in my bed. It was horrible.
Wow.
I remember my dad actually slept
crazy.
up in my bedroom over the garage. That's where my bedroom was, to make sure that I didn't get up and sneak some water in the middle of the night. And I couldn't take it. I finally went down and filled up my sister's bathroom sink with water. And I could hardly wait for that sink to fill up, stuck my whole face in it and just started gulping water. I was so dehydrated. I was so deprived of water. And eventually my fever broke. And eventually I got well. But I got well at 6 foot tall, 112 pounds, and had to build myself back up. And I got down to that weight in in no time. I mean, I was emaciated. I was thin to start, but it was horrible. It was the worst. Honestly, that was the only time in my whole life I actually was hoping I would die soon because the pain was so bad. And I wanted to stop hallucinating. And imagine laying in bed and not being able to breathe, feeling yourself suffocating while you're laying in bed. And I don't know if you've seen.
Scary, man.
Yeah, it is. It's real scary. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. But if it all started, on a lighter note, if it all started with somebody eating a bat, I think they should have called it the Ozzy Osbourne flu, not the coronavirus. I'm not sure why they're naming it after a beer. That just doesn't make sense to me. And speaking of weird behaviors that start diseases, you remember AIDS, they said, came from the green monkeys, from people having sexual interaction with the green monkeys in Africa. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. You're right.
Why are people fucking green monkeys? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, man. But there's crazy people out there, and I know that's how shit starts.
How horny do you have to be for a green monkey to start looking good to you? I mean, you know what? I mean, either that or you got to be a teenager, because at my age, you could bring me the sexiest green monkey in the world. I'd be going, I think I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I'll be swiping left on the green monkey on Bumble.
Yeah. Green monkey, brown monkey, any monkey. Monkeys just are not going to be. And at my point, it's going to take more than a monkey, unless the monkey has really soft hands. Then, they got 4 hands, so who knows? All right, man. You know what? We should end this thing because I'll talk to you forever. It's so nice.
I was just going to say I got to do another doing something. I'm doing something with Nate here at 3 o'clock. So yeah.
All right.
Hey, man, this was a lot of fun, dude. You want to wrap up or something?
Yeah. Well, I don't wrap up by doing it other than saying goodbye. But do you have anything you want to mention other than your podcast and?
Podcast, Sal and Bob Show. My website is saldemilio.com. I'm on Twitter, SallyDO8. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. And just anybody listening to this, when this thing's all over, do me a favor. Even if it's not to come see me, go out and see a comedy show. Let's get people back in the comedy club.
Yeah,
man.
that's great.
the most important
That's
thing.
great. And you know what? I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you, Sal, because, you know, you are one of the guys in comedy that really has never had a problem lending a hand to guys that are trying to work their way up the ladder. And you gave me some opportunities. And I know Billy Reno, and there's a lot of guys out there that have benefited from what you've done for them. And we appreciate you, man.
saying that, man. There's guys doing it for me years ago, so I'm just extending it, man. I'm just keeping it going, man.
Passing on the
Way
love. I got to
forward.
find a girl like you that's ready to pass on the love. Done with these green monkeys.
You do, man. When you find her asses, you got a sister.
Yeah, a much younger sister for you. All right, man. Hey, thanks for doing the show.
Thanks a lot, Ted. Good talking to you, man. I knew it would be a good interview. I appreciate it, man. You're doing good stuff out there. Heard your other interviews, man. Keep it going.
All right, thanks, Sal. It's been great. All right, it looks like it's time to put a wrap on season 1. But first things first, I want to give a big thank you to Sal Demilio. Wasn't he a great guest? I appreciate him taking the time to be with us today. And as usual, you guys can find me at tedtalkstoomuch.com. Find all our episodes out there, or go to YouTube, seek us out. You'll see our previews there too. But at the end of season 1, I got to say, I'm crazy happy with everybody that listened. Thanks for tuning in and coming back, you guys. It's really great. We're being listened to or downloaded in more than 300 cities, 27 countries. I'm glad. Thanks a lot for listening. I hope you continue to listen and subscribe, tell your friends, share, and we'll try and make it entertaining. Got a lot more people to talk to in season 2. And we got a couple specials that we're going to be doing too in between seasons. So anyhow, I'm going to get out of here. But as usual, I want to say, be kind to each other. Really do. Be kind to each other. And just try to be happy. As I always say, until next time, I'm Ted Moss. And those are my thoughts.